Evening, ladies and gentle beings, and welcome to League of Europe Division 2, Season 9, Round 5. I am QVR Killer. I had to think about that one. And I am not joined by Ariel J. Cole this evening. I am instead joined by someone... I don't know if I can make a comparison without offending either party, but I'm joined by QVR Nathan, also known as G Russell 63_. How are you, Nathan?
I'm very intrigued to know what the the comparison was, but yeah, you killed me with a little beans comment at the start, so yeah. Well, I picked a bad track to commentate on, but yeah, hopefully there's there's going to be carnage. Realistically, I mean, we have Coxie on the grid, so yeah, let's see. I mean, if it rains, it's going to make it even more boring, but well, there's no rain in quali, and it's also daytime.
And an absolute embarrassment there for league organiser ERT Larkin. I wonder if we're going to get a lobby restart, or if we're just going to plough on under the basking light of the midday Monte Carlo sun. Let's have a look at the championship standings while we wait for someone to come out of the pits. We have got, after round 4 Abu Dhabi last week, where Evans Joshua took victory, threw himself into the title fight with those 25 points. He's got 53. He's a point behind ERT Larkin on 54, who won at Japan a week earlier. And then the man who won a week earlier before that at China, Ariel Felipe, leads the championship with 65 points. He's got an 11-point lead. Reservoir and Luca tied for 4th on 37 points. Reservoir has 2 second places and then a 12th place and a DNF to his name. Alex the G, who's been promoted, is on 34. QVR Cost Cap and missed the first race, he's on 30, watch out for him. IRT Topes on 28, DTR Bright on 27, Scream on 24, RJ on 20 points with 2 non-starts. And we are restarting. But while we restart, it is worth mentioning, G Russell 63_, that we both tip RJ for a very strong result in this race because, well, you and I both know fresh off the back of D1 that it's not a pad-friendly track, is it? On the order of seconds rather than tenths around here.
Yeah, it's definitely not a pad-friendly track, and as the wheel user he is, well, one of the only wheel users, because for some reason most of us seem to be pad users because we're not all rich. But yeah, I think exactly. There's no pad drivers in esports, which sums it up. But yeah, no, I think RJ could definitely be out there. The likes of Evans, obviously, Evans is a weird one. Like sometimes he'll be on a decent run of results, and then sometimes he'll just go into like just not giving two hoots about it. But yeah, hopefully it will be a lot closer than D1 was.
Hopefully so. And I've managed to get back in the lobby without needing to restart my game, which means we don't have to restart the stream, which is brilliant stuff for all 2 of you that are watching right now. I'm not getting in a car. Why am I getting in a car? I'm getting in spectator, and I'm going to invite you into the lobby. There we go.
Thank you so much.
Let's return to. Let's have a think about last week. It was Evans that came out on top, but Evans has now won back-to-back races at Abu Dhabi. It's one of my few little stats that I've got to go off ready for today, and I also used it last week. But it doesn't matter; we can gloss over that. I think Evans, like you say, he's inconsistent. He's a sketchy, etchy, betchy lad in LOE. Last season, he picked up 80 points, including 3 podiums in the last 5 races, with that win at Abu Dhabi and then a 3rd place at Jeddah, a 3rd place at Austria. He also had a string of 4 successive DNS for Australia, Hungary, Azerbaijan and Belgium. But this season he seems to have started on more level footing, shall we say, with 3 top 5s and a 7th place. So he's looking in very good form, and I think consistency is going to pay dividends. I mean, D2 is the division where the consistent person wins out. I think. I think last season I only won 2 races, but I was always up there around the top 4, top 5. And then I think Larkin was in a similar situation when he won. And then the season, although TDB wasn't very consistent, was he? I'm starting to ramble, but a few drivers have picked up points every race this season. Felipe, Larkin, Evans, Luke, Taupe. And I think that's particularly telling. If you can get a nice, consistent run of points together in this division, you're going to go very far. Where it's not necessarily going to take you far in D1, I think it will take you very far in D2.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's always down to consistency. I mean, you see it in like real life F1 that the most if you just keep picking up the bigger points than your P7, your P8, then it will go a lot better than say winning a race here and there and then just not scoring other places, because as people say, points win prizes. I think that was who was actually, I think he's dead. But anyway, yeah, I don't know where I'm going. But yeah, hopefully we'll get started soon. But I think there's definitely a few people that are starting to look like championship contenders. But then again, it's only round 5, and with the long calendar we have, you can't tell basically until possibly even the last race. But I think about the midway point is when you kind of look at the top 5, maybe 6 depending, and then be like, that will be the top 6 that will actually fight for it.
I know last season we had a few drivers that were in and out of the mix at various points before. It just seemed to be me and Rick, but we had Darry, Kriko, Luke, myself, Rickrich. We had that 5 or 6 that seemed to shine through, and then the rest just sort of slowly faded away. I mean, I think you do get an element of second season syndrome with a game where loads of people will just drop off because they'll lose interest, they'll lose motivation for the game, and there'll be a few that they'll get a good result to go their way, and they'll have a little uptick in motivation, uptick in practice, and they'll see that carrot dangle in front of them, that'll motivate them to go further. I mean, I'd say there were 7 drivers at various points last season that could have been in and out of the title, but this season doesn't seem that way so far. I think Felipe and Larkin are very much, and Evans are the ones that have really laid down the marker. I think I can't see anyone jumping up from the upper midfield to challenge that, at least over the course of the season. But, we know we've got drivers that are too busy for other things. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Ben JS at the gym. Resify with whatever he does, not finishing the race. Taupe just with being German and crashing into people and getting penalties. The Scream with not finishing races. RJW Videos is too busy with being ginger to put together a title challenge. So, you know, I think this is going to be Felipe versus Larkin, and finally we can stop rambling.
I mean, there's still no cars on the track, so we kind of still have to ramble, let's be honest. It's not raining, it's dry, it's Monaco, so quality's going to be the most interesting part of tonight, which is fun. But yeah, hopefully a car actually comes out on track. Oh, I think Miami's coming out on track. Thank you, Miami. Miami's lovely, actually. Maybe Miami could win the championship. He's probably miles behind, isn't he?
Miami is one of the friendliest, good-natured little fellows.
Oh, he's 17th. Oh,
you could
Miami.
Ever hope to have a chat to. He's far too generous in the praise he loves to gush on. You should play Warzone with the man. And he's coming out with a land.
I only found out last year that he's actually a bit older.
Yeah, he's like 28.
I know. A bit old for Lee Grayson.
Hold on, I'm 20. I'm 24. I'm 24. You're 23. We've got to calm down with that nonsense. We've got lives apparently. I have a full-time job. You have a full-time job. And here we are spending our Saturday night talking over some polygons. But let's talk about the track. It is awful, and that opinion will not change. I like Monaco. I like Monaco on the older games, 2016, 2017. The track didn't feel quite as slidey as it does now. Here, an understeery setup is kind of the direction you've got to go in, but it means you get a lot of front sliding, especially when the tyres start to wear. They just do not want to commit, even with those very slow corners. But let's go through a lap with Miami, shall we? And in true James Head fashion, let's use every single corner name as and when it arises. So coming round now, Larascas, and then Anthony knows the start of the lap. It's a bumpy little track, this one. Shortest track on the Formula 1 calendar. The only one that runs to a distance of less than 305 kilometres because it is so slow. Chuck the car into Sandevot, uphill, and you can go through third or fourth gear in there. Fourth is a little more conservative than the bumpy, windy turn 2 of Beaurivage. Technically it's turn 2, then into 3 of Massenet. Flip the car in as committed as you like, and a little too committed there from Miami, but he's going to continue on with the lap. He's got a purple sector 1 because no one else has been through there yet. Into Mirabeau second gear, and then crank the steering on for the slowest corner on the calendar. Wait an age before you can pick up the throttle and unload the car. And then the double right-hander there coming through Portier, straight a touch wide of the apex into the tunnel. Unique on the Formula 1 calendar. There's a turn 9 through there, which Wikipedia tells me is just called tunnel. And then to the Nouvelle chicane, you can take a lot of the curb there. If you go just inside the yellow, you can get a really nice, sexy little cut. And then into the back where Lewis Hamilton slapped the wall, and Miami slaps the wall there. And then through the first part of the swimming pool. In the second part of the swimming pool, La Piscine, which is an excuse to swear live on stream. And then back to Larascas. And Anthony knows where Charles Leclerc's favourite corner in 2022 Monaco Grand Prix, 2021, I can't remember. And then across the line, and 13.0, and that is not a very good lap. T-Brum beats it by 2.6 seconds.
Yeah, Miami's showed his old age. But we have, who's coming to the light? Somebody. Oh, he's starting his lap. We have Sweeros coming to his line. His split time looks good, 11.3. Honestly, don't know what pole was going to be. Probably, I mean, D1 was was an 8. So, yeah. Anyone in the 9s, that would be good. What's Rosalfide doing? Oh, a 10.2, actually showing his pace. But yeah, I think if anyone can get into the 9s, as championship leader Felipe goes into 4th, then they probably will take pole. But yeah, we'll have to see.
I think he did tag the wall slightly, Felipe, on his lap around the swimming pool, unless the angle was deceiving. The Scream is on a lap. Chris is on a lap. Topes coming round Portier now. Evans is in a similar spot. There's an Alpine there who cannot for love nor money get out of the way. I think that's Chris. It's not Chris, it's the other one. It's Sweeros on his in lap. Evans has gone invalid. So let's go on board with Taupe coming through the Nouvelle chicane. And that was it went a little bit deeper there than they would like to. Ideally towards Tabacco, you want to flip the car in down one gear, straight a little wide of the apex. That's no bother. And then here you can really cut the second part of the swimming pool. I suppose that makes it the 4th part of the swimming pool. As he's got his teammate, the Scream, I think, stopping practically Michael Schumacher style at Larascas. This didn't look like a great Sector 3 from Taupe, if I'm honest. But he's still in the 10s, only just goes P3 on the second row of the grid. And Koskapen is invalid, Coxey's invalid. Lifebout is not on a quick lap. And I think that is the first run's pretty much done in for. We've got Luke on a lap, but that was an 18.8 first sector, not particularly quick, although we have got RJ coming around the last couple of corners now.
Yeah, he's about, well, that was perfect timing. He was 6 tenths down in the second sector split, so this is probably going to be a 12, I think? Oh, just into the 11s, goes P7. But yeah, Resify and T-Brum showing that this track is incredibly wheel. I believe T-Brum's on wheel. I don't really know. He's Canadian, so yeah. I think everyone else is even. But Coxey's in a wall. That will not be the last time he'll be in the wall. Luke comes to the line, and joins Felipe on the 3rd row, the 3rd and 4th row. But yeah, a lot of people, I think, to quote, bottling their banker laps. But
well, Evans bottled his banker lap with an invalidation, but he backed off. He's gone for it again. He's a 52.8 through the second sector, so this could send him up into the upper echelons of the grid so far. A great word, that, echelons. Is he going to split the IRT drivers? No, he's not actually, he's only going to go 7, but he does split. The AlphaTauris sneaks in 2 100s beyond Felipe, and a 10th and a 300s ahead of Luke. Have we got anyone behind him on a lap? I think Luke's on a lap. He's on a 19.0 Sector 1, which is, you don't need me to tell you, it's very bad, because that's the pace I was doing earlier on in qualifying. I was like I was a solid, came through Sector 1. Oh, and Lex hits the wall there on my first lap. I was 7/10 slower than your good self, the game told me, on my first attempt, so that was very morale boosting for me. We've got Brent coming through to back now, and he's done a 52.8, same as Evans, so we're looking around P7, P8, P9 for Brent, the Dutchman, and let's see what he can do. Verstappen didn't particularly fare well at Monaco in 2022, only managed P4. What can Brent do any better than his compatriot across the line? It's going to be an 11, it's 11.4, and he does actually, continues that, drives a further wedge between the two AlphaTauris, goes P10.
Yeah, a lot of people, maybe we overestimate it as the scream comes out of the final corner. It's going to be another 1 minute 12, and he stays in P14. But yeah, apart from that, people just resetting themselves. I think Felipe just starting his lap. But yeah, not really too much at the moment.
Yeah, we've got Rezify and Felipe have just started their laps. They're the ones to watch for. Rezify through the first sector at 18.5, a quarter % down on his PB. Felipe coming through turn 4 now, and he's an 18.696. He's half length down on his PB. So both drivers leaving a little bit on the table in the first sector. We'll see what they can do through the middle. Rezify into the tunnel. He's got a Williams in front of him. It can be very distracting if they elect to get out of the way by going straight on, but they're going to stay nice and off to the left, because it can really mess up the braking point there. Rezify a touch deep, clobbered the curb, yellow bumpy curb. It can just send you straight on a little bit, but he did a good job holding it together. 52.1, he's still a quarter of a down. He's not got improved or lost anything through the middle sector. That looked nice through the second swimming pool, and then into Raskas. Ooh, a little bit, he just had to hook the car around, and then Anthony knows, straight line, the last little kink, and then towards the line. It's going to be a 10, and he does improve by just under a tenth in the end. Felipe is also looking fairly good, and he's into 10th. He is up by 6/10, P4.
He should have gone P2. He lost the back end out of the final corner. Although Larkin through the swimming pool did get out the way very late, so yeah, that could be one to look out for.
Speaking of Larkin, let's have a look. FRL Charlie also instantly has put himself up into P3. 18.9 for Larkin in the first sector, 3/10 down on what Felipe managed. Not a good first sector for him, and not an impersonal improvement either. Coming through, that's a lovely camera angle. Portier now into the tunnel, and I do like the tracks where you get you can learn all the corner names rather than to use the numbers, and then into Nouvelle Chicane. And Lark keeping it very tight through there, not allowing the car to go deep. That's turns 10 and 11, to back is 12, and then 13, 14, and then the second pool arrives at you so quickly. It used to be so much tighter, but they opened it up to try and prevent so many crashes and just make the cars easy to access. They did go through there. For the Marshals and Larkin, this is not going to be a good lap. For the McLaren round, second in the championship, it's an 11.2. He improves by a second, but doesn't really find too much relative position to the top part of the field. He don't just jump up. I think that was 4 or 5 places there.
Yeah, so we have cross cap into line, and he don't think improved his position as RJ comes to the line. Didn't have an amazing first sector, but it actually didn't improve, so fabulous. He's really gonna do us proud from 50. Coxie is on an in lap, so is Mercedes.
Chris is on a alright lap, 52.8 middle or second sector split, which is kind of what we've seen a couple of times. When a little deep second swimming pool just grazed the wall, it is 11.0, does go P8, so it's a respectable lap, but it leaves him 8/10 off pole position, and Lix
Oh,
just nips
Lifebout.
into P12. And Lifebout has...
Oh, we've cut. Okay, well, he was on a 52-4 split, so that would have been, I think, top 5 at least. But yeah, no, the bottom.
And this is why we shouldn't root for RJ, as Luke improves by 1 place to P13 there, not going the way of Luke so far this evening. So I feel like it's really going the way of anyone right now apart from Reservoir and T-Bram. We've not mentioned as well Matty up in P4 there. Look at that, the Dane in the Ferrari. Ferrari had a good race last week, and they're having another good one this evening in terms of the qualifying. P1 and P4. We've got everyone. Now this is interesting. What did you do in D1 then? Did you go for 3 runs or 4?
3.
Now I'm just thinking, we're looking at Matty and Felipe out on outlaps. They're clearly going for 4 runs here, you would think. But I think that's a risky strategy. I went for the harder tyre selection. I gave myself 2 sets of hards in the event I'd need to make an early stop for some damage and, you know, need or possibly risk running out of tyres if there did happen to be any safety cars, which there doesn't seem to be around here. I think going for 4 sets of softs and leaving yourself with 1 medium and 1 hards in what is likely to be a damage-laden race is a risky strategy, but fair play for them for going out. And speaking of going for it, Felipe was fully 150% committed through turn 1 there, scraping the wall, takes a tight line through 3 and then flick it into 4. Very cautious of the apex of that one, not wanting to lose any time, and then, you know, he's 300ths of a second up. It could be worse, but you can really see between the pad and the wheel drives in terms of how comfortable they are with getting close to that inside curb as you go through Massenet and the next one, whatever it's called, Casino. Felipe just not wanting to get near the apex particularly.
Yeah, especially through the exit of the head that I can't remember the name of the hairpin, but yeah, he's coming through to about. This just looks like a tidy lap. Yeah, 52.3. I mean, it should gain him maybe 1 position if he can nail the final sector as Brent retires at the chicane. Felipe also gives really interesting gear selections, but up to the line, and he improves into P3. If that is his final run, then it's not a bad final run, especially for a pad user. But yeah, we'll see if he gets to do another run or 2.
Well, you can spot the difference between, you know, if he is going for 4 runs and everyone else on 3, because the vast majority of the field in the pits right now. Coxey has just started, so let's watch Coxey coming up the hill now through into Massenet. Tight line through there. It's easy to let the car run too wide, or just there's sort of 2 mini apexes there. If you just clip one of them, it completely ruins Casino. But nice first sector of Cox. He's up by 1.5 tenths, and then when you want to open up the hairpin as much as you can so you can get the car hooked round and on the power nice and early, and then the track just falls away from you a little bit down towards Portier in the tunnel, and it's a nice little breather, I think. But the trouble with straights, they give you an eternity to think about the braking zone at the end of them. It just makes it even more inviting to mess up, as Coxey does there completely. Yeah, ruins it. The tracks I hate the most are the ones with massive runs down to turn 1. I think Mexico, Spain, because you have so long, or even Brazil, it's such a long pit straight. You have so long to think about braking for turn 1 that it makes you more able to mess it up. Whereas, or something like France as well. Whereas tracks like Monaco, where the first corner arrives at you quite quickly, I think, or somewhere like Miami, it's a lot easier to nail those first corners if you're not thinking about them for as long, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
It made sense to me, being that all as Coxey going for another run on the same set of tyres. So unless this is his final set of tyres, I'm not too sure what he's doing, but he's already ruined it. So yeah, that's Coxey's qualifying over, as most people in true fashion come out of the pits very late, tote 300ths off on his lap, but yeah, the times will start coming in thick and fast.
They will indeed. Evans is one we mentioned as a potential contender today, but he's down the back end of the field. He is up by a quarter tenth through his first sector, but it's an 18.7, not really in the realms of what we've been looking for so far. Let's see what Lifebout can do. Also down the back end, 18.6 for him, so they need to keep that up through the rest of the lap. Have we got anyone else who's close? Koskappen has done an 18.6 through the first sector. What is he on through the middle? A 52.1. He's looking in much better form through the middle part of this lap. And if he can keep together for the final, this could put him into the realms of T-Brum and Felipe for P2, P3 on this grid. Certainly for a spot on the first two rows, but gets a little out of shape, a little squirm there as he gets on the power over. Eager perhaps coming through turn whatever it is, but he goes into second place by 2/1000ths of a second, and Charlie's up by a tenth as well. He's down in P5. Matty has, I think, just finished a lap. Coxey starting. Lix is up by a tenth. He's done an 18.7 in the first sector. What can Luke do? He's done a 52.8. Middle doesn't improve. Oh no, sorry, he's just starting. I hate this time in town. It's absolutely a shambles because you can't tell who's on a lap and who's not. And I'm going to have epilepsy from moving the screen around. Miami gets a little bit out of shape. Evans retires. Coxey's up by a tenth in the first sector, but he's on older tyres. Chris is going to come to the line now. He does an 11.0. Maybe he's starting. I've got no idea. Let's look at Charlie. He's just finished. He's on a 10.6. I got no idea, Nathan, if anyone's improving. And Felipe's been completely ruined there by the crashed Evans Aston Martin out of Casino, and he had to completely back off. T-Brum's managed to avoid that mistake and gone straight through it, but that's ruined Felipe's lap.
Oh, T-Brum. Who was that? I think it was our screen. Got held up by... No, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, T-Brum got held up as we have Tope coming to the line. He is slightly off on his lap as he actually goes into P5, and that's on his second lap.
Yeah, he was derating across the line.
Luke's just coming to the line, up to P9, as somebody else improved, but I could not see. Oh, it was Lifebout, but he didn't really improve that much.
Miami through the middle sector is up by 2/10. Miami's actually on a good lap, a 52.5 through the middle sector. That is a respectable split from what we've seen from most people who have been around the 52.6, 52.7 range. So can Miami send himself into the top 10 here? As T-Brum goes P2, displaces Koskappen with a 10.296. Miami goes P9. Very good lap from the Brit. And RJ as well improved right at the end. He went P11. He was P19. So the man we're backing has not embarrassed us by qualifying last, or more importantly, probably not embarrassed himself. But that is qualifying. It's Reservoir and T-Brum on the front row. Koskappen third, Felipe is fourth, Tope is fifth, Nix is sixth, Charlie seventh, Matty eighth, Miami ninth, Luke 10th, RJ 11th, Chris 12th, and the top 12 are covered by a second. Then Coxey, Larkin, Sweeros, Evans, Brent, Lifebout, and the screen was some way adrift. Caught second adrift, in fact, at the back of the field. But that was quite a nifty little qualifying session, if only at the end we couldn't quite tell who was on laps and who wasn't.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, congrats Cody's. But yeah, we have two wheel users on the front row, and then it goes to two pad users. So I have a feeling as long as those top two can stay 1 and 2 at the start, yeah, it might be turned into a 2-horse race. But it's looking like a close one for Felipe's championship. I mean, if I was him, I would drive at 10%, as we've seen from mine and yours races, Jake, that it works very well to just drive slow, not pick up damage, and let everyone else crash around you. And especially given that Larkin, who most likely, given the seasoned veteran he is himself, will be his closest rival. But, I mean, then again, who really knows?
Who really knows, indeed. I forgot to scroll through the leaderboard there, but yeah, again, if anyone's watching, you can see the bottom. I've just been having a look at what some of these corner names mean. Massenet means sledgehammer. Who knew? Mirabeau is apparently something along the lines of beautiful miracle. Or apparently Mira means miracle. I don't actually know. Beau definitely means beautiful. Portier means porter.
Oh, it's raining. It's
We've
raining.
got a full wet race,
Oh.
and we see now why Larkin restarted the lobby clear as day. As Lewis Hamilton once said, this has been manipulated, and so
it's
it is
Inters.
today. It is.
Oh, actually, so
That looks
on
like
race
heavy
director.
rain to
Well,
me.
I'm on race director, and there's only one driver that's on wets, and it's Lifeboat.
I remember we had this situation a couple of seasons ago. I think it was in D1 or I don't know, it was in D1 or D2. And the game said Inters, but it was actually
But it
full
was
wets. Yeah, and I nearly switched and then on the grid and then chickened out. I nearly
we're in for a good
switched
race.
and then chickened out. And but I'll see if anyone is. Let's see if anyone's done the same today. I think they have all gone for Inters. They have.
Changed.
Oh, but riding on board,
That's
it does.
disappointing.
It does look like lightning. I think this could be full wet conditions, Nathan.
Oh, why did Lifeboat change? You've got to risk it. I mean, you can't overtake in the dry anyway, so now everyone's got to hope that everyone else crashes.
That bodes well. Reservoir hit the wall at Matinee. If anyone is listening and you've got your diff up for whatever reason, turn it down. Turn it down. I mean, most people were running it around 55 or 60.
Oh, that screen's playing Tokyo Drift. Oh, dear.
This is going to be an absolute cracker. It's going to be like Monaco 2008.
This is going one of two ways. We're either going to be in for a very chaotic race, or we're in for a very boring one.
Well, you said the screen was Tokyo drifting. I think we're more looking at a Mad Max situation here. If I dip into my cinematic vernacular,
Evans has crashed.
Evans has crashed. I think we're in a Mad Max style Holocaust situation here, where it's going to be survival, not necessarily the fittest, but survival of the slowest. And look at Reservoir doing burnouts for the crowd there as he comes round Rascast. And I'm going to ask you, Nathan, one word: who's winning this race?
RJ.
I love how we're sticking with it. RJ, let's ride on board with the man who is going to win this race. He doesn't realise it yet. He doesn't realise it yet. But RJ, congratulations!
You've won.
You've won the Monaco Grand Prix. And
all I'm going to say is
he's going to park in the bus stop. Oh, it's Coxey.
Four people have crashed on this formation lap.
Right, let's get rid of this gumph on our screen. We don't need to see what tyres people are on, they're all on the same. Right, we're just waiting for, I think that's Evans to come into position now after his spin, and then we are ready to go. Sweet Ross is disqualified, so can we get a good camera angle, please? We haven't got a good camera angle, so let's go on board with Reservoir, shall we? Off the line, we're going to look back. It's the Monaco Grand Prix in Division 2 of League of Europe, and it was a very nice start for T-Brum, and they're going to be side by side into turn 1, are they? And can T-Brum sweep round the outside? And he does indeed. Is he going to get pinched by Reservoir? No, he's not. He holds on, but there's a little bit of carnage in behind. In fact, there's a lot of carnage in behind. We've got a Williams that is totes squirming away. He's already lost about a second or so to Cost Cap, and they've run away the front three. Felipe still in 4th. Matty's up into 5th place, pushing that AlphaTauri around, and we've got a bit more chaos in behind. Lix has got out of shape. Charlie's going around the outside of him. Miami follows him through as well, and very slow from Lix through there. Luke is under attack from Chris into Mirabeau, and Larkin gets pushed up against the wall there by race winner RJ, and they're side by side into the hairpin. Larkin's going to hang on to that one, but I wonder if they picked up any damage in there. The screen, Coxey's plummeted down to last place. Evans hasn't gained anything in that, but RJ had a send on Larkin, couldn't make it stick, and out front though, it's As You Were, almost, as Reservoir nearly hits the wall on the exit of the chicane. They're going to be moving so gingerly and tentatively through these corners, they will have no idea how to approach them at speed.
I'm really wishing Lifeboat had actually. Sway Ross has no front wing at all. As Koskaffman hits the wall, brilliant. I did genuinely actually think it might be full wets. I really wish Lifeboat had actually stuck with it, because I think you might have called it that it is full wets. I mean, nobody has any traction.
Oh, Charlie's into the pits. That will be for damage.
Lick's front wing, yeah.
Yeah, Lick's in as well. We also got Larkin in. Is any of these going to make the gamble for full wets. No, they're all going for inters.
Oh, Charlie and Lix have gone wets.
Oh, we've got a spinner. That is ET8. Chris has dropped it on the exit of turn 1. He's lost his front wing in there, and he's going to be under attack from Evans now up the hill. Evans can't get any purchase on his tyres. He's still gaining massively towards Massenet, and he's going to go around the outside after hitting the back of the Alpine. Has he got any damage from that? I don't think so. Let's get on gap to leader. Let's get these tyres up and see, as Scream passes Chris now, what progress is made by those inters. Charlie is 25.2 seconds off the lead, but he's got Chris directly in front of him. He's now ahead of Chris, and let's keep an eye on that one. He's got Scream though. This is annoying. They're bottled up. 33.7 though is Lix's gap. Let's see if Lix is catching. I think he is. He is quicker.
He is quicker.
Yeah, 33.7, 33.6, 33.5. Charlie and Lix might have played a blinder here as we've got Charlie and Scream coming through the tunnel. Ill-advised, rectifies. We've got a penalty up in P2, and let's have a look further ahead because we've got a Koskapen train coming through, and he's missing his front right end plate, but he's not coming into the pits. If only he knew that wets were quicker, I'm sure he would be diving straight in. And we've got Chris has retired on track on the exit of Tabac, and how many more are to come in this race in terms of retirements? So it's Koskapen, Tope, Felipe, Matty. Is this train? Miami's with them as well. Luke's can catch up. Lifeboat and RJ have come in. RJ for a change of wing and also for some wet tyres. And Sui Ross has retired from the session as well. Lifeboat's put on a set of inters. And
I don't want to burst our bubbles. Lix is losing time. So is Charlie. I know Charlie. Yeah, they're losing time. Lix is unless they've got damage that we don't know about, but they are losing time. Yeah.
I mean, it's not dramatic though.
No.
It's 27.7, 27.8 for Charlie.
Sector 1.
Yeah,
so...
I think it's. I don't think it's necessarily.
Tope.
I think it's just on the borderline. Let's have a look at Tope. He's just. It's so frustrating, isn't it, when you're in this situation? There's nothing you can do. And T-Bram has checked out 4.3 seconds clear, and there's a penalty for Resify as well. 9.9 seconds clear of Koskapen in P3 with his wing damage, and we're only on the end of lap 3. At this rate, Koskapen is going to be more than 100 seconds off the lead by the end of the race, and he's running in third place. Fastest lap of the race, a 25.4, and Koskapen has just done a 28.2, so that's 2.8 seconds a lap slower for Koskapen than T-Bram early on in this race. We'll see what Charlie can do on this lap, but he's caught up behind his teammate Evans right now. 31s is their fastest lap, but that is with a pit stop to note. A 25.7 for Charlie, so he's on race leading pace. Only T-Bram was quicker than Charlie on that last lap, and again for Lix, a 26.0. Only Charlie and T-Bram quicker on the last lap. So I think the wets are quicker, Nathan, is my feeling, because they're quicker than Resify by a second in Charlie's case.
Yeah, the only problem, unless Lix is about to make me eat my words, is that it's Monaco, and so nobody can overtake, as we can see from Charlie and Evans. Obviously must not have any team orders, unless Charlie is going to go for a move into the chicane. But right, is it my internet or is Charlie lagging a lot?
No, I just got some lag as well. It's good because it means I'm not going to disconnect from the lobby. Charlie is... and I thought he'd gone through his teammate there. End of lap 4, T-Bram's lead is now over 6 seconds. It's 13 seconds to Koskapen as Evans hits the wall on the exit of Tabac. Scream is out, Lix is out as well. And we've had a massive crash here at the exit of the Nouvelle Chicane. And we have got a full safety car at Monaco. Ladies and gentlemen, it does happen. Miracles do happen. T-Bram's lead has been wiped out here completely. He was 14 seconds clear of third place. And we were only at the end of the 4th lap of this Grand Prix. And, well, there we go. It's table's turn. And Resify is going to be brought right back in this race. Koskapen as well. And Koskapen's going to have a chance to make a pit stop here while the rest of the field is held to a delta behind him as Larkin comes into the pit. and Larkin has put another set of intermediates on. Go for some full wets, man. Charlie and RJ and Licks all had good pace before that safety car. They were the quickest drivers on the track, bar T-Brum. Let's have a look at RJ's fast lap. He didn't get to do one. It was a 31.6, but I think you've got to go for Inters, surely.
Evans and everyone else behind. The problem with Monaco, they haven't been able to pass. Now they're getting past, but they've literally the safety car has been holding up. So are they? Yeah, nobody's pit. I'm telling you now, Koskappen, if I'm him, I don't pit. Given he's in P3 already.
Dearie me.
Alright, well given he's in P2, if he pits, that is the worst. He's actually... Why? No, I think... even though wets are better, probably, unless he pits onto Inters. He's gone into Inters. That was not the right. I know he's only gone on to 8th, but he's in a net P2.
Luke also in for a change of tyres, but no wing change, and just a fresh set of Inters.
And they're going to come up behind...
I'm not sure about
given,
that one, Chief.
Was already Taupe struggled that much, and I mean in the dry it's hard enough anyway. In the wet it's 10 times harder because you have all the spray. It's not only raining, you have all the spray, and it's still Monaco, so you still have no grip, you still have no advantage, and you're now down in P9. You have a front wing, but you've now got 7 cars in front of you that you then have to re-overtake.
I mean, it was catastrophically bad, though, wasn't it? Because it was visible on our screen, so it must have been very bad.
As bad as it is, you still he held them behind for already four laps with it. So you've just got to, as long as you keep, if you get good traction out the corner, you're not getting overtaken really. So it's just you're kind of now banking on having to let people crash ahead of you, obviously.
Speaking of, has Luke been caught up in that? Possibly.
No, he got past it.
Because he just look very slow going through there as well. Okay, so to add to the realm, the pantheon of League of Europe safety car blunders, up there with Montana at Bahrain and Melty at Saudi Arabia and Cookie at Belgium, we can now add Charlie at Monaco to that list. Fully just crashed out.
That was scary.
Well, we're on lap 6, and we've almost got as many DNFs as we have had laps in this race, which is quite a remarkable rate to be going on. We won't be finishing with a grid by the time we get to the end of this one. Charlie has left the session. Lifebout's come into the pits. Is he going to reverse his original decision and put full wet tyres on? No, he's just coming in for his 4th front wing of the day and a set of entries. RJ is now the only runner on full wets in this race. It is worth noting.
What's his temps actually?
I was saying, Taupe is now a net P2 with Resify's drive-through penalty to be served. Felipe up in P3. A classy, understated drive from him so far, given his input device of death.
I will say, RJ tyre temps are a lot cooler than everybody else on Inters. RJ's currently sat in the 50s and everyone else is high 60s, low 70s.
But they have a low operating temperature anyway, so I think so long as they're in, I think if they're in the 60s, they're fine. His rears might be a little bit... Actually, let's play a fun game while we wait for Lifebout to catch up. It's called How Much Fuel Does Each Driver Have Spare? T-Brum's on the 1.5, 2.2 for Resify, Taupe's on 3.8, big shout out, 2.36 for Felipe, 2.3 for Matty, 5.8 for Miami, 0.04 for Evans, who's in my good books there, 4.4 for Koskappen, 2.7 for Luke, 0.99 for Brent, big shout out, Coxie on 2.1, RJ's on 4.5, Larkin's on 5.0 because he refuses plainly to take any fuel out at the start of races, and 1.9 for Lifebout. What's RJ gone on to? He's gone on to another set of inters. Yes.
So what we've realised is that
I think the car will be in this lap regardless.
The Red Bull team and the McLaren team just like to have a lot of fuel in their car.
Yes, it's like having a nightlight or a teddy bear in bed. It just makes you comfortable.
Exactly.
As Rezify really lit up the tyres from that 40. Sorry, man.
That's fair. I don't really know what I was going to say. I mean, Miami's now on plus 6 laps of fuel, so yeah, maybe, you know what, maybe, okay, so Miami and Larkin, obviously, 2 of the older people on this grid, maybe they're just the cautious ones. Because Kaffin and RJ are just the ginger ones, so yeah, that's that, yeah, safety car's in.
Safety car is in, and that is a pickle for RJ and for Lifebout.
Just seen how far behind
they are very far behind, and we're going to have... If Rezify's got any sense, he's going to come in immediately and serve his penalty right now before they catch up. And he's not coming in. T-Brum is going, and he's gone, and he's got a nice little train creeping up behind him. Let's go on to interval gaps and see if anything happens as we come through. We're only starting lap 9 of this race. We're not even a quarter distance yet. We will be by the end of this one, I think. Rezify's having a moment. I think T-Brum had more than a moment coming out of the first corner there. I think Larkin and Coxey did just catch up. Not so for Lifebout and RJ, who are 15 seconds off the pack, more than that. But has Felipe got damaged, do you think? He's already 1.6 seconds off the back of Tope, and that car's looking very laboured through Mirabeau.
It is, unless, I mean, it will be quite easy to, easier to see through the swimming pool section, but also, like we were saying with Koskaffen, I mean, Felipe is sat in a net P3. So
yeah, he's got no reason to change what he's doing.
He just needs to keep it on track and keep it out the walls. And unless, I think they will have to pit, because I doubt the Inters will go that far. But he's at the moment just got, I mean, he's got a podium. So, and especially with people like Larkin and Evans not picking up amazing points or any at all, it's it's a very good strategy from him.
And he was in 3rd gear through the swimming pool, the fast part of the swimming pool, so that, I know we're in the wet, but that does make me suspicious. Rezify's in. Do you think the rain nullifies the wheel advantage a little bit? Or...
I mean, Tope and I know Felipe is driving slower, but Tope and T-Brum are on wheel, and Rezify was, and they were quite a substantial bit faster.
Yeah, I mean, we're on our 2nd lap, aren't we? And T-Brum's already stretched his legs by 6 seconds from Felipe, and we're only a sector into that 2nd lap. We've done 4 sectors, and the gap is 6 seconds, which I think does raise eyebrows. But you know, that's not to accuse him of anything. I think even if he doesn't have damage, I think he's driving a very comfortable race. He's driving at a pace he's happy with, and it's working, because I think that's what he's done all season so far, and he's leading the championship for it.
All I'm saying is, this is why Kvyat Koskaffen should not have pit, because he would have been sat in P2, well, maybe P3 if Topa passed him, but if Felipe is already driving this slow, I mean, like, yeah, it's I mean, he's still in P7, and obviously Matty's got a pen, so, and people can still crash, so yeah, maybe it'll work out, but just a bit of an interesting call on the strategy.
I just thought I saw in the background Larkin in very close to the back of Coxey, and he does look fairly hungry for a move.
I mean, everyone.
Yeah, everyone is.
Actually,
I think
it's Evans.
Yeah, it's Evans who's actually breaking the train right now, and he's backing people up. Although it's Luke as well. Luke isn't particularly close to the back of Koskappen. I think Larkin just looks particularly quick out of this lot. I think the rest of them are just running to a pace. I mean, Felipe has completely dropped Miami and Evans, hasn't he, by a mile, so he's not driving that slow, even if he is. I think it's just, as you say, he said last lap, he's just running at a pace he's comfortable with, and that just happens to be a lot slower than what T-Brum is happy with, because T-Brum is apparently an alien in this division, on this track, on this particular day in history. Does look so awful to drive as he cuts the corner there, and that's not what he needed.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue. However, Evans is really... Has Evans got damage that we just can't see? Because he's really slow.
And this cost Kaplan is why you don't pit. Number 3.
Also, is Lifeboat very quick, or is RJ just very slow? Why is Lifeboat... Like, Lifeboat pit ages ago, and has caught up, and RJ has lost more time?
Did RJ make another stop?
No, he hasn't made another stop.
RJ was only 15 seconds off the pack when safety car came in. He must have
He's still
done
15
something.
seconds.
Yeah.
Although,
yes, of course. Yes, he is. Of course. Excuse me.
I'll be interested to see how Resify gets on when he catches the back of the pack.
I don't think he'll be able to do anything, to be honest with you. I mean, we're just looking here from life battles, nearly getting very close. He does get very close to the back of Larkin, which reminds me of this morning when I left to go to Morrison's. I had meant to pull out my car. As life battle gets a big slapper on through Massenet. I had about a foot and a half in front of my car and about 2 feet behind my car in which to get it out. I did the most precarious 9-point turn you have ever seen. And it feels like this train is in a similar situation right now. No room to breathe in front, none behind, probably heart palpitations in the middle, as I was feeling this morning as I left to go shopping. 10.9 seconds now on T-Brum to Felipe Watch for P1 to P3. But Felipe, as we said, remains unchallenged. And I want to give a shout out to Miami in this. He's currently running in a net podium place around Monaco. He's been a fairly anonymous, obscure character in League of Europe since he dipped halfway through his title challenge with Old School 3000 in D3. And since his return, he's not really made too much of a name for himself, but he's running on for a podium result here, albeit with 27 laps to go, sorry, including this one. He's having a very good race, isn't he?
I mean, he could go to lap 47. He's got almost 7+ laps of fuel, the same as his McLaren teammate as well. But maybe that's a new meta in the rain. Is weigh your car that down. That fantastic English. Weigh your car that amount.
Oh, we've got an overtake. It's
Coxey.
Coxey's passed Brent into Massenet, and and Lifebat's going for it on Larkin as well here up into Mirabeau, and he's not going to. Well, Larkin's very generous with the space, and Lifebat's got the outside to go down. He's going to get forced out. He's going to get pinched against the wall on the exit. It'd be wise to back out. He does do so, but I think Massenet and Mirabeau are the best overtaking opportunities you get on this track. Whenever I've been vulnerable around here, I know in the wet I had Rick behind me, Rich, for a good chunk of a race a few seasons ago in the wet. Massenet, lap after lap, presented his best opportunity, and I know from practicing as well it seemed to be a nifty overtaking spot, more so than turn 1 or the Nouvelle chicane there. But I think if there's going to be an opening, that's got to be where it comes from.
I just want to see, I'm on board with Felipe, I want to see what his lap times is, because given T-Brum has just set the fastest lap was 23, I mean it's already at 23. Felipe over the line. 2.4 seconds a lap. I mean,
this is shades of Nico Rosberg at 2016. If for anyone with an obscure enough memory to remember the first 15 laps of that race.
Evans is doing it at the moment. Well, actually, no, Evans is Alonso at the moment.
So, yeah, we had a safety car not like 5 or 6 laps ago. And here we are with 6th place, 20 seconds off the lead. And even Tope is 4 seconds off. Like, no one is on T-Brum's pace right now, and T-Brum is nearly in a position to make a pit stop and come out ahead of Felipe. Let's check back in with Evans, Joshua.
Oh no, it hasn't. Wait.
Central. I think it's still raining.
No, it's still raining.
Yeah, it is definitely light rain now though. So understandable perhaps why no one was committed to the full wets. And there's a penalty to note for Brent down in P10. You know how I said we were on like 6 laps into a safety car and Evans was 20 seconds off the lead. He's now 22 seconds off the lead. In about half a minute he's lost another nearly 3, well, it's about to be 23 seconds as well. And into the pits is Brent.
Yeah, Felipe's still 2.4 seconds elapsed lower. Matty somehow... Oh, actually, as Matty's going for it up the hill, Felipe just covers it off. Matty's used so much ERS compared to Felipe's... Well, he's got a full battery. So I don't know... Matty's the only one with, like, no ERS. He just uses it pretty much the entire track. Which is a very interesting tactic. Maybe he's very frustrated.
Little bit of contact there. Miami just gave Matty a love tap through the hairpin. But nothing's particularly forthcoming. I'm just looking at the fastest laps again. Felipe's fast lap is a 25.3, 22.9 for T-Brum, 26.2 for Evans, 26.2 for Coscam, 26.2 for Luke. They're running all to a pace. See, T-Brum's in the 22s, and no one other than Tope has managed to get into the 23s yet in this race. He's in the 21s for T-Brum. So
he's not even used any ERS.
Yeah. So we got our race leader in the 21s, while no one else has managed to break the 1 minute 24 barrier. And those drivers who have got into the 24s, which is Larkin, Lifebout, Matty, Miami, they're in the high 24s as well. Lifebout's zone 24.3, but the rest of them are in the high 24s. Like, there's no pace in this lobby whatsoever right now. Felipe is 21 seconds off the lead. We've got a yellow flag, that is RJ. The race winner.
No, what? Oh, don't go a lap down.
Disappointing.
You're meant to win, RJ. Well, is it too late to say T-Brum's gonna... You know what? Nah, T-Brum's gonna crash.
Is it too late to say sorry?
No, that's unbelievable. Nah, you know what? Mystic, Jake and Nathan. T-Brum is gonna have a cut as RJ lets through Tope. Yeah, T-Brum's gonna crash. And Tope's winning this race. Tope's gonna have a very lonely race.
Can you imagine?
T-Brum's gonna get pushing too hard syndrome, where he's gonna try and keep going for fast laps, as he doesn't on this lap lap. But yeah, he's gonna push too hard and try and get like a pit stop gap over Tope, who, I mean, Tope's not. I mean,
he's just a
in any other
PB.
scenario,
23-0.
yeah, I was gonna say in any other scenario, without T-Brum in the lobby, Tope's actually got a lot of pace. It's just the fact there's a Mercedes as Felipe reaches the 23s as Luke get past what's happened to Evans?
Evans, I think, had a send on Luke possibly, and then ended up getting nabbed by Kappen instead into turn one.
I don't.
Yeah, Luke's jumped both of them.
Oh, actually, Evans probably clipped his rear wheel into into Raskas, and then ghosted, and then obviously
Reservoirs going for it onto Larkin, and that was ill-advised in the extreme. And look at Lifebout in all this. Lifebout nearly getting pushed against the wall, and then ends up pushing Reservoir against the wall instead. Reservoir ends up clipping the Armco on the exit of the hairpin, and Lifebout does well to escape without causing minor, serious, mild injury there through that sequence of corners. Larkin was probably feeling very attacked, as Lifebout does make it past Reservoir, who I think backed off possibly. Yeah. He felt he was in the wrong, maybe. T-Brum with a fast lap at 21.7 now. Felipe, let's see what he can do across the line, what his pace is. So we're looking at 21.7 for T-Brum. It's going to be a 22, 25, so he's within a second now of T-Brum. Good pace from Felipe, and with him he's going to drag Matty and Miami. Luke's group is now 7 seconds off. And that's Coxey and Larkin at it into turn one. Larkin's going to get a run, but he's not wanting to use his ERS up towards Massenet, as Lifebound disconnects behind them in P11. That's going to be Reservoir 3 pace. Larkin's going to look around the outside, searching for some grip on the outside of Massenet, and he'll cut back towards Casino, but there's nothing doing there. And it's just so unbelievably frustrating when you're in this situation. You just can't do anything. You have to force something, or nothing's going to happen. And sometimes, most times, when you force something, the wrong things tend to happen. But this group has spread out a little bit now. Luke is starting to stretch his legs. Gap to Miami is 6.7. I'm intrigued to see if Luke's pace is a significant improvement. It's a 21.2. It has stopped. No, it hasn't stopped raining.
No,
Ignore
it's still
me.
raining.
Yeah, we're just finding some pace. So maybe there's like a second wind in these tyres. But Luke, he's up by 0.3, so not a massive gain on this lap. But what's Felipe going to do? It's 22.4. The Tope. All the leaders doing 22s now.
T-Rum's just gone purple in the first sector. Oh, no.
21.8 for Luke.
Oh. I mean, yeah, Luke's got a... obviously, these guys pitted, well, apart from Evans. Maybe, I mean, obviously Felipe was driving a bit slower before, but maybe... I mean, it's only 5 laps, so it shouldn't make a huge difference, but... I mean, yeah, Luke's a lot quicker than his teammate, but...
T-Brum's up by another 0.4 per second through the middle. Surely we are heading towards dry conditions, because the track shouldn't be improving this much.
I was
surely
ask that.
19 laps into the tyres.
Is it, well, the time...
Oh, it has stopped. No, it hasn't stopped.
No,
I keep looking too high up the screen. I keep looking at the background.
Oh, we're into the 20s. Oh.
We are into the 20s. Tope's made a mistake. Snap.
Fabulous. Well, I mean, I was hoping
I say he made a mistake, but he still did a 22.4.
Oh, why did he go?
I'll be fair, that was nearly 2 seconds slower than T-Brum, so...
I was hoping Reservoir was going to go all 2016 Verstappen-esque in the wet, and a 21.9 for Felipe. So, I mean, yeah, I don't really know why Felipe is only 21.7 this time for Luke. So, yeah, I'm a bit confused by Felipe's race plan or game plan. But apart from that, we just kind of need Reservoir as he actually deploys some ERS, as Larkin's still tucked up behind Coxey, but yeah, Reservoir. I think we need Reservoir to do a 2016 Verstappen, just to have some.
I think so.
A little slide, a wet weather masterclass.
I think Larkin needs to realise that he should be using his ERS up the hill towards Massenet through Beau Rivage and not using it down the pit straight, because he'll get more of a run up the hill than you will out of Anthony Nose, but. We shall see. How many people have we got watching the stream? We've got 10 people with us. How exciting.
Lovely.
Exciting stuff. A 20.2.
He's just gone 7 tenths quicker. What is this, Matt? This is a D1 drive. Unless it doesn't rain in D1.
21.9 for Tope, and that's a PB. Felipe's up by 7 tenths as well. Surely this has got to be creeping towards dry conditions. We're only 7 seconds or so off now. Dry pace, aren't we? 7 or 8 seconds off dry pace, 21.5. What's Luke going to do? Luke's up by 6 tenths as well. This has got to be going towards dry conditions. Can't see that it's not. 21.0. Oh, and Coxey and Larkin. Larkin's going for it around the outside of turn 1. He's going to force Coxey to take a tight line. Is he going to deploy some ERS now up the hill? No, he's not. Larkin, mate, you've got to go for the run up through turns 2 towards 3. That's where you're going to get the best run on the track. Not out of Portier, not out of Raskas and Anthony Nose. If you can force Cox to take a tight line through 1, you've got to have a run. As Reservoir's having a run on Larkin, he's not the first time he's tried that today. Brent's retired from the session behind us at Massenet and Casino. We're not going to get a safety car this time, but Reservoir is showing that initiative that Larkin doesn't want to show by threatening a lunge. And T-Brum, a 19.7 now. His lead is over 14 seconds. Tope's finding another 7 tenths on this lap as well. The times are absolutely tumbling. What's Tope going to do? A 21.0. Matthew gets a penalty. So he's found 8 tenths on this lap. Felipe's not improving on this lap, which I find very interesting. Penalty for Koskappen down in P7. What's it going to be for Felipe? A 21.4. Barely found a 10th there. So I wonder if he made a mistake. Luke's not improving either, though. Nor's Koskappen. Evans is only finding a 10th. I wonder... I say, we could reach the limit of the improvement, but T-Brum has found a solid 7/10 on the last lap. So
He's doing these times with 5 or 6 lap old tyres than the rest of the field, and he's up again. Hang on, over the second sector split. Okay, now he's down. Yeah, I'm very confused. Although I will say, if you're in T-Brum shoes, so a pit stop roughly is 17 seconds like pit loss. Do you go for the gap and then pit onto a fresh set of opposite? Well, given we don't know if it's gonna dry up, but yeah, as he does a 20.4. Yeah, if it isn't, well, if it is gonna dry up, do you still go for the fresh set, or do you just keep that advantage and then have the luxury of pitting whenever? Or
Tope's just improved as Matty's very close to the back of Felipe and Nazar. Look at it, almost Charles Leclerc style into Rascat. I think if you're T-Brum, you probably would. Once you've got the opportunity to pit, you probably do pit, because your advantage will be monumental after the pit stop. It'll be on the order of 4 or 5 seconds a lap. You've got to think, surely. I see what Evans does across the line. He's on 21.1. Coxey's improving. I didn't see Larkin's time, but I want someone to do something, Nathan. And
we need a safety car. That's what we need.
If we had a safety car now,
the only way to get it is 2 cars crash. So Larkin and Coxey just as actually Reservoir is very close as Larkin uses his lovely squidgy brakes to his advantage. But yeah, I think we're just having the Monaco
we know and love.
Yeah, we're just now into that full Monaco period. As T-Brum does a 20.2. So yeah, the times they seem to be going back up again, which makes no sense.
I think that's just the tyre life at this point. They've done. They're on their 24th lap, so I think it does.
Oh, it's right. Gets very close to the what's it called, the service road that sticks out annoyingly.
I noticed as well that T-Brum stopped pulling away from Tope. Gap's 14.9. It's like he's not extending perhaps quite at the rate that he was. Let's see what Larkin can do this time, as he's using all his airs down towards turn 1, but he's not doubling it up with the run out of one through Beau Rivage towards Massenet. He's very close, but he's just not even thinking about it. And I think, yeah, he's not. Had he used it, I think he could have had a go sooner than he has. He's had that one to go around the outside of turn 1, but look, he's very close down to Mirabeau. There's a reservoir is sending Larkin here. No, there is not. And if you're only going to restrict yourself to having a go at Saint-Devote, you're kind of making yourself a bit of a one-trick pony. It makes you very easy to cover off for Coxey, because he knows exactly where to use his ERS, because he's not been threatened anywhere else. He won't know exactly where Larkin's using his ERS, of course, but if he knows he's only getting threatened to turn 1, that's where he's going to defend, and it makes it a lot easier and simpler for him to do something about the McLaren as we come through the Nouvelle Chicane. T-Brum, I said he slowed down, he stretched his legs on this lap, he's found another second. He's now 15.8 seconds off the lead. Felipe's improving, he's a quarter of a second up on his PB as he comes through the final corner. Miami still with 15 laps to go, on course for a P3 on penalties. Felipe does improve his PB by 4 1,000ths of a second. And let's see what's happening now. Coxey has a bit of a moment.
Issues.
And here goes Larky. He's on the RS again, but he's not close enough for ascending to 1, and he's going to have to do something different here if he's going to make it happen. Red Spy picks up a penalty for cutting the first corner. Larkin's still not using his ERS up the hill, and I think this is just he's playing a risk-averse game here, is Larkin, which is fair enough, but he's got to think about Reservoir behind him. There's more of a threat, and Reservoir, he thought about it, didn't he? He thought about it, but he conceded on this occasion. But T-Brum is into the pits, so he's had enough, and he's coming in, and he's going in for dry tyres. We've not had a DRS-enabled message, but he's in for dry tyres as Matty picks up his third penalty of the day. Tope's going to come in as well, so must be all be coming in for dry tyres. We can still see rain on our screens. I wonder if we've got some kind of visual glitch, perhaps, that's on going.
Does anyone stream that we know in DT? Hang on, what
I've
does
got
Felipe?
no idea. Felipe's coming. They're all coming in. Miami's staying out, and I wonder if that is. He's made a bit of a boo-boo there. Surely, if you're on for a net podium, you just copy what everyone else does. There's no point playing a clever game. Luke stayed out, but he would have queued behind his teammate, wouldn't he? Evans has stayed out. Felipe is in. Larkin stayed out. Coxey has come in. Lifebout's come out. So let's get gap. We've got gap to leader on. So let's see how this evolves now. T-Brum has got Miami behind him. He's going to have very cold tyres to start with. We'll see how that gap evolves. What's your take on this? We've got 4 drivers who have stayed out, and the rest, the other 7, have the other 8 have pitted.
I mean, Luke's at purple sector 3 on the last lap, so I don't think the Inters. Obviously, Luke's tucked up behind Tom, as he should get past it. Yeah, he's going to get past him straight away. Obviously, his Tope's still warming up those mediums, but
track does look dry now, though, doesn't it?
It's getting dry. It has stopped.
I think the track's dry. Coxey's out of the session at Mirabeau, and has anyone joined him in the wars there? I don't think so.
Lifebout crash, please, safety car? No. Lovely. Oh,
Nearly.
He tried his best. Right, what is Miami's in. Luke stays out. Interesting. Yeah, no, it's definitely dry.
Evans out.
There's still no DRS.
Larkin's staying out.
Larkin stayed out.
I wonder if Larkin's thinking here, I can just, or all of them are just thinking I can have track position and just keep everyone behind me.
Well, Luke, Luke's losing a substantial amount of time now to T-Brum. So, yeah, as Lifebout, lovely internet. Matty's gone on to hards. That is very interesting. Actually, I mean, the mediums, they're not amazing after 12 laps.
I've just thought, by staying out an extra lap, Miami's overcut Felipe. We didn't mention that, did we? Or did we?
No, we didn't. I mean, he would have got him anyway. But yeah, good on Miami with his. How many laps of fuel has he got now? Oh, he has 8 extra laps of fuel.
Larkins has 6.7. Evans was the one who had the least. He's got he had 0.06 when we checked in. He's now got 2.02. T-Brum sets a 17.0. Luke in P2. We have now got DRS enabled, and Luke is coming in. Is Evans going to follow suit, or is Larkin going to follow suit? Yeah, unless they just want to hold on for track position as long as they can. Yeah, they are coming in. They've got real no choice there. But I suppose maybe they feel they maximise the pit lap, perhaps. Didn't feel the rest of the field jumped the gun a little bit. So they stayed out a touch longer. But the trouble is now, Nathan, is that you just direct your attention to the bottom right of your screen. The field spread we have on display
I just noticed.
Is large. Larkin, is he going to get out ahead of Resify here? It's going to be very close between the two of them, and I think Larkin might just have done this. No, Resify is going to nip in ahead of him and takes P7, but he has got that penalty, of course. So Larkin in P8, but a net P7 for him. He's going to struggle with the warm-up here. If he's not careful, Koskapin is going to have him through Casino and into Mirabeau. You can see how much the McLaren just doesn't want to stick to the track, and Koskapin's going for it. No, he's not, but he forces Larkin very deep, and he's going to have a chance here. He's going to looking right, looking left, but I think Larkin has dodged the Red Bull's attempts just there. As T-Brum's down to the 14th, and those lap times are going to keep coming down the next couple of laps. He now has an 18-second lead, but Larkin's got to be careful that he doesn't open himself up to losing that place to Resify ahead of him.
All I'm saying, if I'm T-Brum, I'm getting like up to 20 seconds, and lap 37 I'm coming in for softs. Especially, like, given the pacing advantage he has. I mean, total type damage. He's losing so much. No, he doesn't. He's losing so much time.
He doesn't have visible damage.
T-Brum's just amazing at Monaco. Could be the case.
Yeah, I mean, if any track lends itself to a specialist, it can be Monaco, can't it? Larkin is 2 seconds beyond Resify. He needs to get to Shifty on. Actually, Resify is caught up behind Evans here, who, both of them looking a little bit sheepish through turn 3 and towards Mirabeau. And I wonder if this could be Larkin's saving grace when it comes to nabbing P7 in this race. There's no everyone around him has got penalties. Felipe is the only other one with a penalty, and right now he's half a second ahead of his teammate in terms of the penalty window. I wonder how that's going to play out, if they're going to make it a fair fight for position, or if they're going to hold station, because Luke's not under threat from anyone, and Felipe's falling back from Miami, so I think they might just coordinate that one between themselves, as Reservoir very close to the back of Evans here. And as he has been for most of this race, the man who was in second earlier on, but for his drive-through, he's been serially frustrated since then.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, he has no ERS, so it's going to be a bit hard for him to get past Evans. But yeah, it would have been interesting to see what Reservoir and if he could have brought the fight to T-Brum now extends it to 20 seconds. Overtake. Yeah, but I mean, realistic. How many penalties is Reservoir on? He's on 6 seconds as Matty retires in the pit lane. So we're down to 10. Lifebout is not in control of his car still. So does he doesn't pick up points, does he? Because he's not in control.
No, he doesn't, and he won't have completed.
So we have 9 point scorers.
Yes.
Welcome to Monaco.
Welcome to Monaco. Welcome to Division 2.
Welcome to Rain.
Yes, and Reservoir closer still to the back of Evans, but I don't think he can do anything about that.
He needs to stop using his ERS.
He does. He needs to try and save a little bit up and go for it last few laps. Mark of a man who's just pure frustration right now. He's a bundle of frustration, I think, is Reservoir, as his teammate is, who's just left the session after his DNF in the pit lane. And yeah, it's a case of what could have been for Reservoir in this race. I think he had a oh my word, and there goes another one. And I said he was a bundle of frustration. He's a bundle of anger right now, as he has a U-turn up the hill through Beau Rivage, and he's dropped to P9, and Larkin and Koskapen inherit those spacings in the field, and I wonder if Reservoir's going to retire at the end of this lap as well. He's got no front wing and Lifeboat behind him. As we said, he's in AI, so we could be down to 8 in effect in this race.
Yeah, this is really a race of attrition. I think the closest battle is going to be Felipe v Luke, even though they are 3.5 seconds separated. But as we know, both drivers personally, neither will want to finish behind the other. Obviously, if they played the team game, then Luke probably shouldn't overtake Felipe. Obviously, Felipe gaining quite a fair amount of points on Larkin.
We've got to remember it's only round 5 of the season.
It is only round 5.
Oh. There's not really much else to say about that, is there?
That is race changing. Okay. Well,
I think he's coming
in. He's not retired. He's just missed the pit. He's gonna get lapped by T-Brum. Well, yeah, Reservoir's okay. Yeah, Reservoir's had a bad day. T-Brum still extends his advantage. Very interestingly, he's used all of his ERS, so maybe he's not going to go for softs at the end. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. But yeah, he'd be a little bit silly if he doesn't go for softs at the end, given his gap would be still 6 seconds after the pit stop.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're in T-Brum's position, you just want the satisfaction of winning a race by 25 seconds, don't you?
Where is T-Brum? Is he high up in the standings? Let's have a little check. Ariel T-Brum 77. He's in 14th. So yeah, actually maybe don't go for fastest lap.
He already has a podium to his name, so he'd go on to 40 points with a victory here. Well, 41 points.
Top 5 possibly.
Yeah, it's Koskapen's now coming to the pits for softs. Seeing what Reservoir's done, I wonder if Larkin will follow on the next lap. Surely he can't with Evans in front of him, because these two we can't neglect to mention, and we have neglected to mention so far. they're only split by a point in the championship. This is a proper dogfight, as it were, between the two of them. Like, they can't afford to give up 3 points to the other if they can help it by coming in for a fastest lap. And as it stands, they would swap. Well, they'd be tied in points, actually, wouldn't they? No, they wouldn't. Ignore me. Evans would turn that 1 point deficit into a 1 point advantage over Larkin. Felipe would extend his lead over the pair of them by 5 points. Is if I could do my maths correctly, which would give him a 15-point lead at Kota next week. And speaking of Felipe, he's 40 seconds off the lead of this race, having a very lonely time of it. Luke, though, 3.2 behind his teammate now. There's still a risk of that fourth place changing hands.
Yeah, I mean, Luke realistically should get within the penalty gap because obviously fresher tyres. However, it's Luke. But actually, no, Luke's good. We like Luke. We should like all drivers, shouldn't we, Jake? As Reservoir.
We do like all drivers. I wonder.
No, that's a ghosted life fault. I thought for a second I had ever something happening. But,
I wonder if T-Brum's going to come into the pits now and think about making it.
Well, he needs some ERS.
He does.
What a move by Koskapper. On a ghost car.
Yes. But he's now up into 8th place. If there was any dispute about where he's going to finish in this race, whether it was 8th or 9th.
Why is Koskapper ghosted?
Because he's behind T-Brum.
Okay, I didn't realise he was that close to him. Oh, actually. Well, this could get a bit annoying for T-Brum. If Koskapper is ghosted inside of him. Because, I mean, we all know ghost cars are very annoying. So yeah, this, maybe this is T-Brum's biggest challenge, is having a ghost car unlap himself.
Would be interesting, wouldn't it, if
I mean, we did say T-Brum would crash.
We did.
Well, I said it, you just would decide.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'll root for anything right now in this race to happen in the last 3 laps to give us some entertainment. Because we are wilting a little bit here in the commentary box. You may have noticed the colour drained from our voices as the heating is worn on. But, you know, the result looks set in stone now for a while, isn't it? It's going to be a T-Brum victory. It's going to be a Tope second place. It's going to be a Miami 4S third place. I think a deserving podium. They've all driven excellent error-free races so far, although T-Brum has picked up that 3-second penalty, which is perhaps a minor blight on his evening. If it denies him the chance to win by a half minute, which would otherwise look fairly likely right now. Felipe's in P4 and does seem to have warded off his teammate, who's at 3.6 behind that. Evans a further 2 seconds back with Larkin in close company, but Larkin, with his risk-averse approach to, shall we say, to racing around Monaco, which I say like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing if you don't want to get into a crash with someone, but there are points to be had if he does manage to get a run and get his elbows out. And then we've got Koskappen running around in effective last place in this race, right behind leader T-Brum, and then Lifebout and Reservoir. And our DNFers in this race, of which there are many: Matty, Coxey, Brent, RJ, the race winner, Charlie, Lick, Scream, Sweetross, and T8 Chris. We have more than halved the field because Lifebout is absent. So we've only got 9 finishes out of a 19 car field.
Well, T-Brum goes almost straight on at the chicane. Koskappen's. See, now is he going to just stick behind him, or I think he is. What a nice driver Koskappen is. So, is T-Brum going to go for fastest lap? He is not. Okay, well.
That ends that one.
Congrats on the win. Reservoir is playing Tokyo Drift behind Lifebout's Ghost Car. Apart from that, Larkin still behind a car that he's probably quicker than, but can't get past. Luke, I don't think it's actually going to get within Felipe's penalty range. It's stayed at 3.9 for like the last 5 laps. So unless Felipe
4.1 now.
Yeah, it's going up and down, but I think Felipe is going to hold on for P4 as Reservoir makes a lovely move on the Ghost car.
Yes,
and that's about the most entertainment we've had in the last 10 laps.
Lifeboat had a manic race at Abu Dhabi last week, running spectacularly low wings compared to everyone else, and has been terrorised people with his wings last week, terrorising people as a bit of a ghost, a bit of a ghoul on track this week. I think he's just done a Rocco. He's put the car in the pause menu and has gone for a shish kebab or something to end his evening. And fair play, blame when you're on your own last race, Monaco. We're about to start the last lap of this race, and it's been a boring one for T-Bram, but you can't neglect to throw all the superlatives you can muster at him, because it has been an outstanding race, even if perhaps that's because the rest of the field just hasn't been on his level, and you can argue perhaps that's because he should be in D1, or maybe he's just far too bloody good at Monaco. But he's certainly a deserving winner, and probably the most deserving win for any driver, any track you'll see in a League of Europe race pretty much ever. He's going to gap the field by half a minute.
Signs of what, there's a little wobble. XL Dylan at the time did in season 5, many moons ago. However, seems to have retired from league racing. A fellow Canadian, actually, of T-Bram is Canadian, isn't he? I'm not making that up.
He is indeed.
Exactly. Maybe, you know what, maybe it's just Canadians and this track. But yeah, I mean, people do say, not only in league racing but also in real life, that the most boring ones are the most hardest to win.
And so it is won by Ariel T-Bram. He catapults his way up the championship standings with, as I said, a superlative victory. Taupe is going to come home a distant second, as Reservoir is passed by Lifebout for his unserved 5-second penalty. I think Reservoir will get that back, given Lifebout's AFK-ness. Taupe hasn't really put a foot wrong either. He's going to come home, as I said, a distant second, but a deserving second as well. It's a podium for him in the Williams and Miami, for, as I said, someone who's been anonymous in D2 since he's joined the division, but takes a thoroughly deserved podium with P3 today, and no penalties to his name either. Same for Taupe. Felipe's going to take 4th, just sees off his teammate by a 10th of a second. Evans 6th, and Larkin 7th. And the rest of them were a lap down, I think. So that concludes the order, and it is Larkin gets driver of the day. I'm not sure I agree with that one. It's a T-Bram victory, it's a Taupe 2nd place, and it's a Miami 3rd place. And let's see that we can't get those in for a podium interview.
We get to talk to Miami. Oh, let's go.
You do get to talk to Miami. How exciting.
It's probably the most exciting thing that's happened since the wet driving. I mean, for all it was worth, the first half of the race was very interesting. So it does go to show that dry Monaco is worse than wet Monaco, I guess. But end of the day, it's still Monaco, and T-Bram mastered Monaco itself.
Yes, the Monaco master, not quite on the level of it, and so needs to do another 5 times for that, but a bloody good drive nonetheless, and it does find up the standings. Felipe does extend his lead in the championship. Reservoir had a bit of a mare, he was P4. Luke will inherit P4, I think, and then Taupe. Actually, no, Taupe will move up to 4th. Luke will move up to 5th, I think. And then T-Bram will be 6th, if I can do maths. So it is T-Bram that wins from Taupe, Miami, Felipe, Luke, Evans, Larkin, Koskapen, Lifebout, Reservoir, Matty, Coxey, Brent, RJ, Charlie, Lix, Scream, Ross, and Chris. Those last 10 were your DNFers in this race, and that was an entertaining race. I think it was fun. And we've got some COTA next week. I'm sad RJ will be back because it means I have to say goodbye to you. Cool. So we're joined by in the party. We've got our race winner and we've got our third place man. Let's start with the third place man, Miami 4S, with his first D2 podium. I said it on stream, Miami. You've been away from the glamour of Liga for a long time since you had to dip on your D3 title fight with Old School, but you're back on a podium today. How was that race for you? And at Monaco, no less. Did you have any damage at any point? Were there any like hairy, scary moments for you, or did it all seem quite under control? Because even when you weren't P3 on track, Matty and Felipe pretty much had a penalty in front of you for the entire time you were behind them, so it felt like you were always in control of that P3 from this side. Well, thorough congratulations from me. Nathan, do you have anything to ask of our P3 man?
Congrats, Miami. The old man still got it. You still sound like George Russell. Yeah, I mean, looking at the rest of the season, hopefully you don't ghost again. What do you have any expectations? No, maybe more podiums, maybe even a win. But oh, actually, no. I do want to know what. How come you and Larkin took so much fuel? We were playing a fuel game, and we saw that you had like 8 laps extra at one point, and yeah. Okay. Well, congratulations anyway.
We don't have our tote here, so let's move on to our race winner, Ariel Tebram. I don't really have a question, really, because, well, congratulations firstly, but that race seemed exceedingly boring from your point of view. My only question is probably, I've stolen Nathan's one. Did you think about coming into pit and put some softs on for fastest lap?
Honestly, no. I was just chilling up at the front. I wasn't really gonna risk it because I needed this win badly, so I just chilled on the mediums.
Fair play. Did you have any dramas at any point? Anything that you felt under threat? Weren't happy with the rain, or was it all as easy as it looked?
I mean, it was pretty easy going, to be honest. I had it all under control. I just didn't have any scares, didn't have any like bad moments. I just kept it clean, you know.
Well, do you think? Actually, I'll let Nathan ask that because I'm sure that's what he would ask. So, Nathan, do you have a quick question to ask our race winner?
I don't know what you thought I was going to ask, but congratulations on one of the most dominating drives in D2. Do you think it's just like a Monaco thing, or do you think that you do have the pace to bring it to like the rest of the D2 for like the rest of the season? Obviously, we're quite early in the season, so there's still quite a few races to make up the gap to people ahead.
Yeah, Monaco's been a strong track for me on most games I've played on, like in the F1 series. But I think I think this is where like my pace will start to come in, and I think I can challenge for more wins, hopefully. But yeah.
Well, that's exactly what I thought you were going to ask, Nathan. So,
Oh, lovely.
Kota next week, so more short term. How do you feel you'll fare there? Because it's a very different track to Monaco, obviously.
I'm not racing next week.
Oh.
I'm going out of town, so
That's
I'll be
sad.
back for Canada.
Home race. How's that one going to go?
Canada, I don't like it on this game, but hopefully I'll be able to pull something out.
Well, we look forward to it. Larkin and Felipe and Evans always in need of more challenges. We want a 5-way. I'd like a 20-way title fight if we could have it. But thank you both for joining us in the commentary box. Thank you, Nathan, for joining me in the commentary box, so I didn't have to commentate over that monstrosity by myself. Been an absolute pleasure. J. Cole will be back with us next week for Kota. You can tune in next week at 6:30 UK time, Division 1 with James Head and Old School 3000. Division 3 up in the air, I think, the commentary duo, but hopefully with Just Games 95 at the very least. And D4, same time as us at 8:10 with QVR Staff and QVR Packer, and then me and J. Cole here for D2. We'll see you then. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.